Hi, everyone. Today we're going to talk about comics and specifically talk about digital comics and how they can be used in professional communication or how they are being used in professional communication. This is kind of a fun, I think it's kind of fun to explore this topic. The readings are very serious, as you'll see. There's some serious kind of heavy theory behind them. There's a lot of reasons why comics work. As a genre, comic books and comics are something that are they're not threatening. So you could have a very technical topic, or perhaps a sad topic, or some a really a topic with serious repercussions or serious circumstances or a lot of gravity or however you want to say it. And yet you can present it in such a way that it's not threatening at all to the people who are receiving it. It also helps them learn, and it also helps them read in a less threatening environment that they might be used to. I want you to have fun with this module, okay? But I want you to learn a little bit about the comics as a mode of professional communication. Now, there's nothing new about comics being used for professional communication. I don't know how many of you might be comic book readers. I was really a big comic book reader when I was a kid. And now my kids are into comic books, and at the very least they're into digital comics. There's a lot of great digital comics out there. And using them as a form of professional communication has been around about as long as comics have. One of the most famous are that you'll see each and every day are IKEA. If you've ever visited an IKEA, bought anything from IKEA, you see their little dude trying to put the stuff together. You see him throughout. Now, what's different about IKEA's instructions versus the instructions that you might get for a different piece of furniture or furniture from somewhere else is usually instructions take the person out of the instructions, and so you just have the object being put together. You might have a hand in there turning a screwdriver or something like that, but IKEA has embraced the sense of a comic as a representation of the user, okay, who's having problems, who's unhappy with something, or who's happy after he or she calls IKEA, right? But it's this representation. So this is kind of a stand-in for whoever you are, and that's what comics have always done. IKEA is one that we can think of that uses this in a professional capacity. Another one is the U.S. military. Starting in, I believe, in World War II, the U.S. military commissioned comic books to help soldiers and sailors and the people that were flying, the airmen, to help them learn how to do things. And it seems a little bit odd, but if you think about the time that was taking place in World War II, not a lot of people were well educated. Not every 18-year-old even had a high school degree. Many of them had dropped out. And they were letting people in at 17 and 16 years old to go fight the war during World War II. So this would be a genre that many of them would already feel familiar with. It wouldn't be as threatening as a big, thick instruction manual on how to do something. And the U.S. military made these comic books all the way up and through the Vietnam War. I have an example here. This is how do I believe it? It's Clean Your M16 Rifle. This is just an example of one of the comics that the U.S. military made for the soldiers. So this is for the Vietnam era. The M16A1 was the machine gun that they were using, the rifle that they were using at the time. It lists the equipment that you need in order to clean it. And you notice that FSN, that's actually the serial number. So the Military Department of Defense serial number to get that one particular thing, as well as information on here. But it has this kind of iconic comic book figure. She could be a heroine or something in any type of comic from the era. It looks like something from the 60s or 70s if you're familiar with the artwork. And they did this for a variety of different topics, everything from how to strip and clean your weapons to different types of equipment, how to take care of your equipment. I remember seeing one that talked about different types of booby traps and stuff like that to watch out for when you're in the jungle. I saw one I read one on maintenance of an airplane one time. So they made them for a variety of different topics, but the genre stayed the same. The genre, again, was non-threatening. It was a genre that people were familiar with. And it's the mode of communication that is important here. So it's not just textual communication, which is what instructions would typically involve. And even if instructions involved images, like these furniture instructions typically do, there's something different about making this kind of non-threatening figure a character, and we get to see this character assemble this cabinet or bookshelf or whatever the character is trying to assemble. We get to see that character assemble it and see him or her as they go through the process of doing what we're about to do. Okay, and the same goes here. Typically, what you would see is you would see somebody actually putting it together. Maybe putting the piece of equipment together or cleaning the piece of equipment, and that person's problems. Perhaps they know, boy, this is a really tough step. It helps the reader understand, okay, I need to watch out for this particular thing, because it's like you're kind of reading their mind. So these become metaphors for us carrying out these tasks. Another example, and I showed you this in our very first lecture, is the Google Chrome comic. This is written by Scott McCloud, who wrote a book called, I think, Drawing Comics. He's noted as a kind of an intellectual when it comes to actual comic books. So Google contracted him to create this comic for Google Chrome. When they first introduced Google Chrome, they wanted people to learn how to use it, learn about its different features and so forth. And again, in a non-threatening and familiar way. So this is in a non-technical way. So this is relaying very technical information, but it doesn't seem technical. Now, imagine the difference between this and some set of instructions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do X, Y, Z, and so forth. It would be, the experience is obviously much, much different. So this is a mode of communication, takes the place, perhaps, of static instructions. Now, the nice thing about having the online and digital kind of ubiquity that we do is not only can you create these online very, very easily and very quickly, but you can also send them very, very easily and very quickly too. So this is a mode of communication that you need to explore and kind of understand. Let's look at a different example. Oh, this is what I wanted to look at. This is being created, I believe, at California State University, Long Beach. They're creating a comic book called Beach Days, Share the Waves. And it's meant to help kids and teenagers understand how to support the marine life when they go to the beach, so they're not just destroying things. So, for example, you see them dealing with riptides and how to swim and be safe when it comes to riptides. How to deal with various, how you can identify a shark versus a dolphin. What else? And what to watch out for when you're walking along the sandbars. My daughter actually got stung by a stingray for this exact thing. But anyway, so it's informational. It helps the reader quickly understand concepts. I mean, you see what this person is doing. You see the crossed out foot, over the foot, and the foot about to come down on the stingray. Without reading it, you know exactly what the message is, right? So this mode of communication helps quickly and easily understand the information, which is, if you remember, is one of the objectives for a technical and professional communicators. We want to help the audience quickly and easily understand information, right? So these can be used for a number of different things, not just the technical information like the Google Chrome, but also for maybe health and safety. And as I showed you, the military used to use them as well, okay? Now, as you do with anything else, you want to consider your audience, okay? As a technical communicator, professional communicator, start with the audience. Now, the reason this comic book was created was because the audience is teenagers and kids. And so the researchers feel like this would be a better medium to reach them in versus other types of modes or mediums, okay? So digital comics or comic books would be a great way to reach this particular audience. If it was a different audience, it might be a different mode that you might want to use, maybe video or maybe animation or something like that. Okay, so start with the audience when it comes to designing these things. Who are you designing it for? So why did you design it that way? Obviously, what is your purpose or what is the objective of the particular communication that you're creating? As usual, you have your discussion prompt. So find an online comic, analyze it, and write a discussion about it. Grad students, you'll be happy to see that you don't have an outside reading due for this module. Okay, it'll be for the next one. But all of you do have your project, and you're going to go out and create a comic that focuses on a specific topic, a specific problem, and it should be for a specific audience. Okay, so let's go over the assignment very briefly. This assignment relies on the readings about online comics you completed for this module. I think there are 4 or 5 readings. To do 2 things: create an online comic that supplies the information to a specific audience, and an analysis of the comic you created. For the first part of this assignment, create an online comic that instructs a specific audience to do something and provides an explanation for doing it. Some ideas are to get NMSU students to get a health checkup, to get NMSU students to recycle, to get Las Cruces residents not to drink and drive, etc. So a lot of different things that you can look at. But again, it has to be for a specific purpose, and it has to be for a specific audience. The comic should follow these guidelines. It should have a very specific audience, as I just said. It should provide a specific message, as I just said. It should also look professional and attractive, and it should be persuasive. You can use whatever online tool or digital tool you like to create the comic, but the following sites may help. Okay, so we have Pixton.com. Everyone can make comics. For this one, don't worry about signing up for educators, for students, or whatever. Well, I think you could do this. If you sign up solo, I think you can make free comics. And the way it works is you have these characters that you'll just drag and drop into various frames. You'll create a little message. No, I'll go in your place or whatever. You'll create the message there, and then you save the comic. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to let you download the comic that you make as like a PDF file and turn in. So again, you can submit just the link if you want to, if that's available. The other tool is Canva, which we've used for a couple of different things, but you can create comic strips similar to the last one we looked at. You'll do drag and drop. You'll have some type of kind of auto formatting. You'll drag and drop, and you'll write the little dialogue in, so forth. Okay. But before you even get started, you need to think about who your audience is, and you need to think about the purpose of it. So what is the message that you're trying to relay, and how is it best to do that? Once you've figured that out, then you can go out and start creating your comic. Okay. So aside from that, you have to create an analysis memo. As always, you must create and turn in a memo that provides an analysis of the comic. Who is it for? What is the purpose? What is the rhetorical significance of the images, colors, and other graphics that you used? Use our readings to evaluate the usefulness of this comic. Why do you think it would work, or why do you think it may not work? Write the memo according to the guidelines for creating analysis memos. Okay. So again, as usual, I want you to base your argument on your readings. Okay, the readings that you did for this particular module. You'll use in-text citations, and you'll have your works cited page afterwards for your analysis memo. Okay. If you have any questions, as usual, please feel free and let me know. Send me an email or come by and find me. If you can't think of anything to do your comic on, please let me know, and maybe we can come up with some ideas together. Okay. Have fun with this one. Make something cool and unique. This is something that you can put. Actually, all of these projects are things that you can put into a portfolio if you're saving them as projects that you can show potential employers in the future. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions or need any help with this assignment or with the readings or anything else. All right. Have a great day. Bye.